reporting to you live from CNN's Washington, D.C. studio. In today's breaking news, 29-year-old Boca Raton resident Chastity Glisson was poisoned and killed by the vicious and deadly carbon monoxide stemming from her running keyless car. Her boyfriend Tim, of 5 years, was also discovered in their home nearly dead. Tim now maintains permanent brain damage from this horrible event. The Glisson family wanted to ensure that no one else would be faced with the same tragedy, so they took strong measures against the automotive community. As she was driving a Lexus made by the company Toyota, the family is suing Toyota in a wrongful death suit. In addition to Toyota, the lawsuit is also against the apartment building for improper ventilation services. This is a public service announcement. This is a public service announcement.
Over half of the annually sold 17 million new cars have a keyless ignition. Older drivers have a tendency to get confused with the engines, leading them to falsely believe the car is off. The start button creates a quiet engine easily forgotten. The car opens up by using fobs that transmit radio signals. Older drivers have a tendency to get confused with the quiet engines, leading them to falsely believe the car is off. This has led to over 24 deaths from carbon monoxide poisoning since 2006. Some car companies have tried to put audible warnings to warn the driver the engine is still on. However, popular car brands that still do not have these warnings are Chrysler, Land Rover, Mercedes, Volvo, and Volkswagen. Please proceed with caution if you are the owner of one of these models.
In order to fully understand the problem, we need to talk about the silent killer, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, CO, is odorless, invisible, and tasteless gas that can kill. Okay. When you inhale carbon monoxide, the molecule binds to the hemoglobin, which is a red protein. The bond differs from a normal function of the hemoglobin. Normally, oxygen goes from the lungs into the bloodstream, then is carried through the body by the hemoglobin. However, when carbon monoxide takes the same path, the carbon monoxide bond does not detach from the hemoglobin and makes it so oxygen can no longer attach.
This bond is stronger in CO compared to O2 because it binds to the protein change in the hemoglobin rather than the iron atoms in the protein. The hemoglobin inhales CO, then the CO will bind over the oxygen and will limit the amount of oxygen that's carried through our cells, leading to oxygen starvation, also known as hypoxia. If the brain doesn't get enough oxygen, carbon monoxide exposure can lead to unconsciousness, coma, permanent brain damage, and death. While low amounts of exposure are pretty frequent and can leave behind organ damage or diseases, it only takes a few minutes to turn deadly. This reaction is demonstrated through the hemoglobin dissociation curve. This curve examines the proportion of the hemoglobin compared to the oxygen tension in the body. When there's an increase of carbon monoxide, this is reflected by a shift left to show increased oxygen affinity of carbon monoxide exposed blood. To protect yourself from CO poisoning, there are a variety of different precautions. You can install carbon monoxide alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and carbon monoxide scrubbers. This can help prevent an overload of carbon monoxide. In addition, it's important to ensure that there is proper ventilation in your homes, and ensure that you do not spend a prolonged amount of time in a car in an enclosed space, or do not sleep next to a heater. Another important step is to ensure as soon as you have a sign of carbon monoxide poisoning, you seek professional help. Once you reach a hospital, treatment must start immediately as time is of the essence. There are multiple different treatments. Firstly, oxygen treatment. In order to reverse the effects of carbon monoxide poisoning, the best treatment is to breathe pure oxygen, therefore increasing your oxygen levels and removing the CO from your blood. This can be done either through a ventilation or through an oxygen mask. Secondly, they can be treated through a hyperbolic oxygen chamber with twice the amount of normal air pressure, and this is only used in extreme cases.
Thank you for listening. This is very serious and not a joke. This is a public service announcement. This is a PSA. It is time for change. There have been too many needless deaths because of the fact that the government will not push through with passing these regulations. The Society of Automotive Engineers suggested for auto companies to install new features at the beginning of 2011. The safety features involved a series of beeps to alert drivers that cars were still running without the key fob in or near the car to shut the engine off. They were even hoping to shut the engine off automatically. Additionally, a feature that many of us carbon monoxide lobbyists agree is necessary is a weight detecting seat, where if there is no weight on the seat and the car is on, there would also be a series of alarms alerting the driver the car and engine is still on. Even the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration agreed with these regulations and demanded legislation. The suggested software to add the detected beeps will only cost a few more pennies. Lexus have figured in almost half of the fatalities and injuries, has implemented 4 different sound signals, 3 outside and 1 inside the car, to alert the drivers that their engine is still on and running. However, when Toyota engineers decided that they needed more alerts and warnings such as flashing lights or a unique sound tone, the company rejected the recommendation and fell short. Although there are already current regulations in place regarding problems with keyless motors and carbon monoxide, safety companies say this is not enough. Some automakers have designed newer models that alert the drivers with visual and audible clues. Even Ford's keyless vehicle has implemented a feature that shuts off the car automatically if the engine is still on after 30 minutes of the key fob not being placed in the vehicle. However, there is still an issue that not enough car companies are applying these features on their own, and many older car models and keyless vehicles have not been retrofitted in hopes to reduce the hazard as much as possible despite the low cost. It only costs General Motors $5 to install the automatic shutoff. Because there's no regulation, people do not know that they are at risk and their cars can add an element for a low Because there is no regulation, people do not know that they are at risk, and their cars can add an element just for low cost. America, listen to me. Send letters to your senators to get these regulations passed for the safety of our country and the safety for you.